what college is for. Alcohol experimentation and indulgence. Experimentation. Who experiments with alcohol? You just do it or you don't.
Hi, I'm Jerry Jewell. I'm a comedian, actress, writer, and here I am today, all over the place, podcast where the fun sanity never ends. Fun sanity. I like that word.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live. I'm your host, Eric Provoznik, with a little bit of extra energy tonight. We've got a Threefer. Threefer is back. Yes. But before we get to that, though, I want to thank all of our guests we've had. I'm going to get my hat on straight here, too, and a little crooked there. I'm turning into one of the kids with a wacky hat. There we go. Well, as straight as it's going to be, I guess. So, I want to thank everyone, our guests for the last week. We have had an amazing start to season 3, and I want to thank everyone who's come on. William Cack, Thaddeus McCotter joined us for our Threefer. Jerry Jewell, Chris Raymond, Sam Mitchell. Help me out here, Jim. Who else we got?
Christopher Pereira?
Christopher Pereira. Thank you so
Per-
much for that one. How can I forget that? Am I going to have to say a couple extra Hail Marys for that one? Probably. Even if I don't.
Possibly.
Yeah. Self-flagellating Catholics, folks. That's us. That's what we do. But it's been a great start to season 3, and I got to thank all of our guests. But Jim and I, we've been itching for a Threefer, and we got to bring it back. And we're going to be kicking off September with Back to School. That's right. And as you can see, obviously there's the Penn State stuff going on with me. Duh. But no Penn State guests tonight that we know of. No. But also I've got my Sylvania Northview cap on too. Acquired my time back in Ohio. Got to go over and see a baseball game there on the old field where I used to play, which is a much nicer field now. But Sylvania Northview out there in Toledo, Ohio, suburb of Toledo, and just the Penn State. It's back to school. It's fall. First episode of September, the Threefer, and just thanking. In addition to our guests, our awesome guests we've had to kick off this season 3, I want to thank everyone who has helped us grow. Subscriptions keep going up, and I also got to give a shout out. Have you seen which of our episodes, Jim, recently crossed the a big threshold? Jerry Jewell is now over. She's crossed a milestone. And folks, I'm going to make you go over to YouTube to see how many there are. Because you've been subscribing. You know about all this stuff. But Jerry Jewell, awesome guests. All of our guests, awesome guests. I, again, can't thank everybody enough for coming on. Gratuitous plug here. All over the place. The official podcast. I got to get you. I'm going to send a mug up to you, Jim. We got to get you one of those.
All right. Well, I figured matching T-shirts was enough for tonight. We don't have to have matching mugs.
We're both in gray. Winter chicken dinner, and we're back. We're when this airs, we will know the outcome of the Penn State game, but no jinxing. That's I'm a baseball guy, even though it's a football game. No jinxing. So yes, but our 3 for tonight, we're going to be listing. Jim and I, we're going to go round robin here, the back forth, on what we liked about going back to school. And our plus one will be this is going to be up for grabs. It's a potpourri, a jackpot, so to speak. The plus one tonight will be either our favorite subject or our favorite extracurricular activity when we went back to school. But let's kick it off with the 3 things that we liked about going back to school in the fall. Jim, to you.
Okay, so I'll start with number 3 and go reverse. So my number 3 is might be an odd one, but meeting new teachers. Something I always really enjoyed. Didn't always like my teachers in school. Surprise, surprise. Who does? But something about that first day. You come back, you first meet your teacher. They're all smiles. They got their name on the board. They're meeting you, learning your name. You're learning their name. Everything just seems kind of bright and optimistic. You feel like, this could be a good semester. This could be a nice teacher, could learn a lot, make some friends. Just that first day when you're just getting to know your teacher, it just kind of gives you a good feeling in the cockles of your hearts. And, doesn't always last, but, it's a good start to the semester, I think, or year, as the case may be. So, just that experience of kind of meeting your teacher on the first day was always kind of a positive one, even if it was fleeting, as they say.
Teacher honeymoons mileage will vary, absolutely. But yeah, I agree that it kind of wraps part and parcel into where I'm going to be going to eventually with this countdown. But yeah, I
Okay.
getting to know the new teachers. And then here's the thing: high school, some of them you knew because you knew what you're a freshman, you see what's coming up. Unless you never know who's going to retire unless they had a big retirement party the year before, and then you're like, well, yeah, we don't get to have, or I don't get to have. So yeah, it goes either way. But yeah, and college, I think the same thing. Just you get to know your professors, and yeah, the start of the new year, absolutely, I love it. Getting to know the faculty. Yes. For my number 3 is going to be just the sports aspect of it. It's not like today where you've got your travel ball, the summer sports, and you're going up until like the middle of August.
Right.
Our soccer, our baseball ended in the spring. Maybe it bled over a little bit into the beginning of July, but July 4th was absolutely it when I was growing up and playing baseball. And then you're out. You're not doing any organized sports. Soccer conditioning usually started beginning to middle of August, just getting in shape for things. Excuse me. A little sip here. And we're back. So, but yeah, I just like that. And that started everything off because soccer then bled into basketball bled into baseball, rinse, cycle, repeat, because that's how it was back in the day, folks. You played multiple sports, and growing up in the Midwest, it was seasonal. So I like the fall. You get going. You're getting in shape. Back before this middle-aged gut kicked in, and yeah, love the fall sports. Getting going with soccer.
Yeah, now it seems like sports are a year-round thing. It's almost like they don't really have their own season anymore. They just kind of keep on going, but it does lose a little bit of the specialness that way.
And I don't like it. And but that's a rant for a different show. And
Indeed.
Oh, quick sneak peek here, folks. You're getting a little insider knowledge here, inside baseball, so to speak. On our shorts on All Over the Place, it's going to be like a kind of a crossover with the All Over the Place, a little crossover with the Round and Third apparel. I'm going to be doing some baseball quick rants. I haven't quite come up with a name with it yet, but being an umpire, as I think I may have mentioned, you see a lot on a field that you don't really like to see. So I'm just going to be going off on some of that stuff. So yeah, it's and a little bit of that will be the year-round singular sport player. But that's for another show known as Shorts. Moving on to you now, Jim, for your number 2 and what you liked about going back to school.
All right. So my number 2 is something I didn't actually get to experience until high school, and that is discovering the cafeteria menu. So I basically brown bagged it my entire childhood and most of high school, and for pretty much every meal, because that's just how we rolled in my house. And just didn't really get into the cafeteria food. So I got to try a little bit of it in high school. Really got into it in college. Freshman 15 and all that. Might have been more like freshman 20 for me, but that's okay. Just kind of, you're at a certain point in your life where you don't have a lot of control over your own food, and then you go to start a new year at school, discover the cafeteria, and suddenly you have all these culinary options that are not available at home. And you have a couple bucks to work with. You can start trying some French bread pizza that you just don't have at home. And so it's kind of a fun part of the experience, and makes the lunch break a little more fun, and just kind of something to look forward to when you go back to school, is just enjoying that a little bit.
Agreed. And I'm throwing it here to the Northview direction because they couldn't call it a Big Mac. We had very similar in substance and maybe not so much the special sauce, Thousand Island dressing. The Move Over Mac was our big thing. And a shout out to my friend Ryan Crockett, who probably wore a few more of my Move Over Macs than he should have, because people made me laugh. Sometimes it wound up on Ryan. Sorry about that, Crockett. My bad.
The Move Over Mac wasn't available at McDowell's, was it?
McDowell's.
They got the Big Mac.
McDowell's.
They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick.
And the golden arches. No, we had the
Arcs,
golden
yeah.
arcs. That's right.
That's right. It's
But
different.
no, move over, Mac. But yeah, and and one of the nice things about growing up where I did in Warren, as I brought up on the show where we had Sammy from Red Rain, the Italian aspect of that, we always had good cafeteria pizza.
Nice.
White pizza too. We had the Neapolitan style. Is that Neapolitan is the white, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, whatever. White pizza. We just called it white pizza. And that was not with a capital W, by the way. Oh, I digress. To my number two.
Number two.
Tying a little bit in with Jim's, getting, this is more for college, but you're getting back at you're in your everyday routine with your friends. And and going back to and college, late 80s, early 90s, it's not like today where everyone's FaceTiming and then now you never lose that much contact. You made a phone call. I remember Jim Yules and I, we would just go back and forth with just funny postcards from Jim in Maryland and me in Ohio, just sending local stuff and just making each other laugh with actual snail mail and things like that. But you're back, you're with your buddies again, and it's just a good routine, and you meet new people who come into the department, different classes, all that, and yeah, it's just seeing old friends and making new ones. I like that about the fall and going back to school. And now, Jim, over to you for your number one.
It's very similar to the one you just mentioned, actually. Seeing basically just seeing friends again. It's easily my favorite part about going back to school. And there's friends that you see outside of school, right? And then there's school friends that you really just see at school. You see them in class, they sit next to you, see them in the hallway, recess, whatever. And whenever you're at school, you're buddies. But after you leave school, you don't really see them outside of school. They're just kind of school friends, and so you can go a whole summer and not even think about them, even though they're your buddies. And you go back in fall and you see all these kids that you know, and you're like, it just kind of brightens the entire experience going back to school.
I agree. And to my number one, it's yes, we all get excited. When we get spring fever, you can't wait for school to end in May, June, whenever it may be in your particular region. But I liked going back to school because like I mentioned, the sports were done, and you had a little bit of the conditioning and whatnot with soccer, but I was bored those last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks in August. I couldn't wait to get back into that routine. And yes, I don't care. I was in the honor society. I liked school. So it's, that's my number one. And we lost Jim. I got to bring Jim back here. You were frozen.
Bummer. All right. Did my number one go through? That sounded
your
weird,
number one.
I mean.
Your number one. It was interesting because we heard it perfectly, and those who are listening on the audio platforms, they're not going to know the difference. So we're talking about it right now. But if you're watching on Facebook, this was Jim.
I was working on my ventriloquism. Okay.
I like it. I'm watching a little bit. I'm getting back into a high school. I'm not sure, but. I'm watching a lot of Newharts recently, the 80s version with Bob Newhart, of course. And I'm reminded, it's the same thing. It was so indicative of shows in the 70s and 80s where you had that freeze frame, like they made fun of on Police Squad. And of course, Police Squad, you have them all frozen. And then Jim would be coming in and walking through the background, pouring coffee into someone as everyone else is freeze frame, just frozen. But that was Jim for the last 30 seconds of his number one answer. But yes, you were there physically and you were smoothly there audio wise. It was all good. But
all right, well, fair enough.
Yeah. So my number one was just getting back into that school routine. I was a nerd. I was an athlete. played sports. Newspaper. I had a lot of extracurriculars. I liked going back to school. I'm not going to deny it. And of course, college is its own beast. And every year you get a little bit older. In Pennsylvania, you got that much closer to 21, where you could go out and drink legally. So, yeah. But that's our Threefer, folks. But the +1 now. And Jim, are you going to be going tonight with your favorite extracurricular or your favorite subject?
I'm going to go with my favorite subject, which will, among honorable mentions, will include some extracurriculars.
Okay, I like it.
Umbrella term.
I like it.
Okay, so yeah, for favorite subjects, honorable mentions. Got to mention English, because I was an English major for 2 years. One of the biggest mistakes of my life, because it was pointless. But loved English. I think I really loved it in high school, especially because it just felt like you weren't just learning something, you weren't just doing rote memorization, you were actually appreciating something together and having fun with it. And so any kind of class that involved English, literature, poetry, I loved that. When I was in college, took a class in finance, learn about things like investing. Absolutely love that. I feel like that's one of those things that should be mandatory, in my opinion. But it was a fantastic class. Learned a lot. Favorite subject is band. Absolutely love band.
As brought up on the show before, I love it.
As brought up on the show many times. Been playing the drums since 5th grade. Had an absolutely amazing band teacher. Had a terrible one in junior high, and the best teacher ever in high school. That made me absolutely fall in love with it if it wasn't already. And carried it through college, and yeah, I got to do pep band, got to do jazz band, pit band, in some musicals. Just more fun than I ever had doing anything else. Absolutely love band class. Yeah, can't recommend it enough to anybody who's looking for some direction or some fun. Just pick up an instrument, get started, take a band class. It'll be the best thing that you do in school.
You will get no argument from me on that one, as I stare over here at a few different instruments that, God forbid I concentrate on just one. Actually, I played clarinet in school band many, many moons ago. So that's the only instrument that's not here right now. I gotta work on that. And Jim's recommendation, 100%, get into it. So what's your band geek? You're playing an instrument. Absolutely. And you're not a band geek.
Even if it goes no further than school, it's still great.
Let them be jealous. Who gives? I'll keep it clean this week, folks. I won't drop any swear words. Now, to my, I guess I'll throw an honorable mention out there, and that would be the school paper that I worked on, and Sylvania Northview Wildcats, and our paper was called The Student Prince, Prints. It's got layers upon layers of meanings there, see? At The Student Prince.
Such a fine line between stupid and clever.
There is. There really is. And I liked where I started. I was, I guess, sophomore year was you at the introductory part. Then junior and senior year, you just move up on the staff, and that's where my love of music. I got to start writing reviews there. Some people liked them, some people didn't. But hey, I think I'm the only person in the world. Well, I'm sure there are others, but in my class in 1980, 86, 87, I gave bad reviews to not just Aerosmith's comeback album, Permanent Vacation. I gave a bad review to the album that exploded them, Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. I gave a crap ass review. So they gave
clearly been trying to make up for that ever since.
They gave Love a bad name, and I stick to it. What are we, 36 or 38 years later? Yeah, hey, look at that. Math done quickly. Something I couldn't do in high school. But yeah, I love writing for Student Prince. And then senior year, I became an associate editor, and I was fortunate to do and I'm really going to geek out here, folks. That particular summer of 87, summer before my senior year, I got to go to journalism camp down at Ball State, David Letterman's alma mater. So that was a fun experience. And it's not said very often about Muncie, Indiana. I liked it there. Good place. But yeah, I love writing for the Student Prince. Nice. That's an honorable mention though, because my number one, I would have gone to journalism camp in 86 before my junior year, But unfortunately, I think as has been mentioned on the show before, I was in a bad car accident to start off the summer day after sophomore year, let out, and I couldn't go to journalism camp. So because I was busy recuperating from a car accident, but that I couldn't play sports for a year, so that allowed me to tap into my artistic side, my acting side, my performance, and for better and worse, so I got involved, and I also couldn't drink, no alcohol for a year, and maybe I could have dabbled, I don't know, but when I see a warning on the medication, the anti-seizure medication I was on, that said lethal if mixed with alcohol, you know what, I was scared straight on that one. So that was about the time I was watching Sid and Nancy as well. So I was scared off of drugs and alcohol. So I hooked up with. I take warnings seriously, but I hooked up with it was called Youth to Youth, was the alternative to drinking and drugs program at Northview, and it may have been the whole Toledo Lucas County district, but Youth to Youth, I got involved with that, and the improv acting group within it was called The Medicine Show, and we went to various elementary schools, junior highs, and we performed sketches and just improvisational stuff to give kids alternatives to drinking and drugs. And I'll never forget it. A little shout out to my youngest brother Mark when he was over at Highland Elementary School, and just seeing that his face light up, and that's my brother. He's nudging all of his friends. That's my brother up there. That's my brother. So yeah, that was a good time. I really enjoyed doing that and getting involved with that. And then of course once I got to college, that year was done. So I made up for some lost time. But I was 18 at that point. So, but yeah, Youth to Youth Medicine Show. That is my extracurricular that I liked. Yeah, that's what college is for: alcohol experimentation and indulgence. Experimentation. Who experiments with alcohol? You just do it or you don't. All over the place. Threefer, back to school. Again, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. Jim, how many people do we want to ask our audience to share with this week? We've gone 1, we've gone 11, we've got 2. Kicking things off with school. I mean, it's the 24-25 school year now. Should we have them share with? Would it be too much to ask them to share with 24 people?
I like 24. I can work with that.
Aim big,
25
folks.
or 64. I don't know.
We love you. Show us some love, because you know it's a mutual love affair here. So share with 24 of your friends. Let's keep it growing here, folks. Thanks again for listening to All Over the Place. On behalf of Jim, thanks so much for checking us out, listening, or watching. Be back real soon. All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.